Coach Matt from Tackle Training to bring you a video definition on identifying trend lines. Trend lines are one of 5 different ways that you can identify potential support catalyst or resistance catalyst. The first way is what we call a significant price level. A significant price level is like $10, $50, $100. These significant whole numbers, they trigger emotional triggers in us as traders. The second one is what we call previous levels of support or resistance. This would be like old resistance becomes new support, old support becomes new resistance. They are interchangeable once those levels are broken. The third one is what we call a price gap. The fourth is popular moving averages, such as the 20 period, the 50 period, the 200 period, simple moving averages. But the one I want to talk about today is trend lines and how to identify and draw a trend line. Now, when you draw a trend line, it's almost like those old coloring books where you know when you were young or when your children were young and you had them connect A to B to C or 1 to 2 to 3 and it would draw a picture. That's kind of what we're doing when we're drawing trend lines. As you can see here on this example, we're looking at connecting the first level of support right here, and then we just simply try to connect as many levels of support to project in the future where that support zone would be. So in drawing a bullish uptrend, we want to connect support level 1, 2, 3, 4. The more we can connect, the more dots, the more support levels we can connect, the stronger that level of support becomes. Now, in a bearish downtrend, we're simply connecting resistance zones. So the technique is very similar, but this time we're looking at connecting the resistance zones. And as you can see, connecting resistance, resistance, resistance to resistance to resistance. This now becomes a resistance level as the stock continues to move down. This would be a price level that I'd be looking at to potentially short the stock. And if it breaks out of that level, you might be looking at a new bullish uptrend. Now, what I want to do is I want to quickly look at some other examples from connecting support and resistance. The first stock I want to look at here is Adobe. Now, once again, connecting support and resistance zones, I simply come to my drawing patterns. I connect on one of the trend lines I want to draw, and I simply connect support to support to support to support, and that's how you become this nice little established bullish uptrend. And as you can see in the future, that level will stay there, and as Adobe comes down and tests that level in the future, that might be a potential buying zone. Here on CTAS, once again, I want to look at the overall trend here, and I want to just kind of get an identification of that overall bullish uptrend, and I'm going to connect as many dots as I can. It's not a 100% exact science, but as you can see, I'm connecting support to support to support, 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 and in the future, that line will become a new support level. Here on let's look at some in the bearish downtrends here. Looking at the bearish downtrends, I'm going to look at the current trend here from right there, and I'm going to make sure that I can just connect as many of these resistance levels as potentially. And once again, as you can see, resistance to resistance to resistance to resistance to resistance, that becomes an established resistance line that in the future, as you can see, in the future as the stock goes down, it retraces back up into that resistance zone. That becomes a potential resistance level that I might want to sell the stock at. Here's another one looking at BHF, just looking kind of at that current trend here. I'm going to get my trend drawing tool, and I'm going to connect as many resistance levels as I can. And as you can see, the next time this stock comes back up into that resistance zone, that once again could be a probable technical catalyst of resistance, meaning I might want to look at shorting the stock. This is Matt Justice for Tackle Trading. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a nice little like on YouTube.